Did you guys know that Gege Akutami is back and he's just changed his name to Takura Hokazono because goddamn Kagurabachi is just terrorizing us every week. I feel like I'm reading the Shibuya incident all over again with every chapter that drops. It's just, oh, that's really cool, and then crippling depression. Anyway, yeah, if you've read chapter 58 of Kagurabachi, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because this is honestly... he just doesn't miss. He doesn't miss. Like, what do you want me to say? What's the review even meant to be about? Oh, another amazing chapter, or who would have thought? Sorry, yeah, no, I will actually review it, but as always, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Yeah, let's just get into it, because, like, I don't even know. So, chapter 58 starts off with the exact same panel that we see at the end of chapter 57, with Kumayuri summoning the geisha-like creatures, and Chihiro surrounded in Hakuri's storehouse bubble stuff. The only difference to this panel, though, is that it actually says the word 7 minutes earlier, and then we go back to Samura 7 minutes earlier. And, yeah, everything kind of picks up very quickly, because Samura just comes straight out and tells Uruha that he wants to kill all the enchanted blade wielders, including Uruha, and then himself. He knocks out all of the guards so that they can have a discussion, and Hakuri can't really do anything but lie there and just watch this conversation unfold? No. He can't really do anything but lie there and watch this conversation unfold, and then kind of blame himself for giving Samura Tobimune and not Kumayuri to Uruha. You know what I mean, alright? I'm tired, leave me alone. So yeah, Uruha's first response is, Samura, bruv, you've gone insane. You've lost your mind. And honestly, yeah, I can see this as a sort of like trauma response, evil antagonist backstory kind of thing that Samura's got going on. Something I do really like is that ever since we've seen Samura, those scars on his eyes that he got from blinding himself because he couldn't stand to see all the pain he was causing people kind of do look like tear streaks. Yeah, honestly, I don't really know how we didn't pick up that Samura was most definitely a traitor, but do you know what? It is what it is, okay? We gotta deal with it now. So yeah, Samura says he's going to kill all 5 enchanted blade users, including himself, and then he also says that the lesser of 2 evils out of the blade wielders and the Hishaku is the Hishaku. So he's going to help the Hishaku get the enchanted blades, work with them to take down the very dangerous and out of control Swordmaster, and then he is going to pack up the Hishaku himself. And bear in mind, this would mean that Samura with Tobimune would have to beat the Hishaku while they have enchanted blades. And if they beat the Swordmaster, there's a very real possibility that Yura's plan does lead to him getting hands on the Shinuchi. So yeah, I don't really know if Samura can actually deal with that, but Uruha says the Hishaku's chances of winning against him are very slim, so goddamn Samura, you have got some statements backing you up. Now obviously none of us actually think they're going to straight up kill the Swordmaster because, you know, he's kind of set up to be this rampaging monster, so even without his blade, I see a way for him to survive and then eventually get the Shinuchi and kind of be a problem for everyone. So it definitely won't be that simple, and also I don't think Samura is just going to pack up the Hishaku and then the story will end, because that's definitely not where we're taking this. But that is Samura's intention, and that's what he tells Uruha, who sees it as a possibility. But then what happens in the following conversation is some new information which doesn't really reveal any actual secrets, but it does confirm our suspicions that there is a lot we don't know about Kunishige and the Seiti War. And honestly, all of us wanted to know about the Heian era in Jujutsu Kaisen. At the end of the day, the Heian era wasn't actually that important and we desperately wanted to know. The thing is about the Seiti War, which is kind of being considered Kagurabachi's Heian era, is that it seems integral to the plot, and we most definitely will have a flashback arc or some kind of context given at some point, unlike Jujutsu Kaisen, which is a big part of the reason why I think Kagurabachi is going in a much better direction than Jujutsu Kaisen ever was, because all of these parts that are being introduced are very clearly, intricately linked to the story itself, whereas Gege kind of did what he wanted with a lot of stuff and then was like, you know what, I'm just gonna ignore that, fuck you guys, you don't need to know about that. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, so basically the Seiti War is definitely gonna be important soon, and from that one single panel we got of it in like chapter 14, god damn do I need to see a flashback arc. Azami, Shiba, Samura, all the enchanted blade users, maybe even Flamebone seem to be involved in that war, and what I find really interesting is that when they had 5 enchanted blades, whoever they were fighting, they were evenly matched with. Who the hell were they fighting that they could evenly match 5 enchanted blades? It was only when the 6th Shinuchi blade actually came in that they started to win the war. So like, how strong were the people they were fighting? How do we even know if we were on the good side, and who even were they in the first place? Well, we finally get some kind of answers, or hints that there are answers, because Samura says to Uruha, we covered up what happened 18 years ago. Actually, what he says is, we covered up what happened there, and the there there is in bold, meaning there was definitely some big event that went down that has been covered up, and that's why they all hate the fact that they're lauded as heroes, because, you know, they've been walking around bearing the burden of this secret of the terrible crimes they committed in the Seiti War, of the lives they took and whatever happened, and everybody else thinks that it was a different story. They think they were all heroes and it all went down very smoothly, which is very obviously not the case, and this is the source of both Kunoshige and Samura's guilt. Even Uruha is able to listen to Samura's story and actually say, I fully understand where you're coming from, but I don't think this is the answer. So these blade wielders definitely know that something went horribly wrong and had some part of it and feel some guilt for it. My guess is that it's definitely something to do with the Mogatsumi wielder or the swordmaster raging out of control, but beyond that we have absolutely no idea. So Samura says, yeah, we can't be allowed to continue, we're so much worse than the Hishaku, so I'm gonna work with them, we're gonna kill all the enchanted blade users, I'm gonna kill the Hishaku and then myself. Now, despite the fact that I've already been waffling on about my thoughts on that whole Seiti War statement, I'm gonna come back to that topic later because this is a chapter review and I actually need to kind of, you know, review the chapter. So yeah, they have that conversation, Uruha goes, you're crazy, Samura explains his ideology, Uruha goes, okay, maybe you've got a point, but this isn't the right way to do it, and then Samura basically says, shut the fuck up, let's just fight. And bear in mind, this is student and master, right? Like, this cannot be easy for either of them, but they're both very willing to get involved and do it. And something I have to give Samura credit for is that he put Tobimune down and picked up his old, not enchanted blade katana in order to give Uruha a fair fight, because as we know, Uruha does not have his enchanted blade. It's effectively just a sign of respect and acknowledgement from Samura that this is a clash of ideologies. So he gives Uruha a chance, basically, and it doesn't make much of a difference because, yeah, Samura, being the master, cuts him down in one stroke. However, I would not give up on Uruha just yet, because in this same chapter, we see a flashback, very briefly, just one panel, of Uruha sitting in what looks like a hot spring with his old guards that were killed by Hirohiko, and what we see is that exactly where Samura cut him, there was already a very deep scar on his shoulder, which obviously, if he's sustained an injury like this before, then I see no reason why he wouldn't be able to survive it again. The only problem with this is that at the end of the chapter, he looks pretty dead, and by pretty dead, I mean he's covered in blood and his face is planted in the ground. There's also the fact that Hirohiko seems to be able to use his enchanted blade, which could only really happen if the eternal contract was broken, because Uruha died. But yeah, I wouldn't give up on him just yet, but, you know, 90% chance he's cooked. Yeah, he's cooked. And then what happens is Samura goes and picks up Tobimune yet again, but something new happens. Chihiro arrives. He was dragged in by Hakuri via his transportation storehouse ability in order to combat Samura, which is, I don't think, the right call. I'm gonna be honest with you. Chihiro's not ready for this. He's not. He's gonna lose. If he tries to fight Samura, he will die, which is why they're not gonna fight. I feel very confident in saying that right now. Samura didn't seem to know that Chihiro had an enchanted blade. If he finds out that there is a secret seventh and that Chihiro, someone born after the Seiti War and all of these horrible crimes were even committed, actually has one, I suspect he may judge him as worthy. I don't know. You get where I'm coming from though, right? Like, I don't really see them fighting. I see Samura either letting Chihiro cut him down or leaving. At least that's one possibility. The other possibility is the other person we've seen to have previous interactions with Samura a lot, and that is Toga Shiba. He's been in hiding for a while now, and, you know, Yura was kind of hard glazing him, suggesting he is really strong, so if anyone's going to be able to take him down, it would be Shiba. But yeah, those are my two ideas for what's going to happen next, because I don't think they're going to end up fighting. Chihiro will lose, straight up. One thing that is worthy to note, though, is that Samura smells the blood on Chihiro and goes, damn, you sure are covered in a lot of blood. Samura doesn't like that. But something to consider. Does Samura know that the only blood on Chihiro is his own? Not other people's, not innocent people's, hell, probably not even Hirohiko's. The only blood he is covered in is his. And that may be the reason why Samura judges him fit to survive and be worthy of carrying Enten. So yeah, that was the chapter. But before you start disappearing off to the comments to shout at me for whatever reason, I just wanted to point out three things. One, if you look at the panel of the Seiti War back in like chapter 14, if you look in the top left corner, it does look like we see a load of Samura's feathers. I don't know why that's relevant, it just was cool, so I wanted to point it out. Two, many people believe, myself included, that when the three Hishaku members pulled up to kill Kunoshige, the guy in the samurai armor whose body and face we didn't see was probably Samura. And if you look in the background of that shot, it does look as if there is maybe these little black specks and feathers floating around, because Kunoshige would have Tobimune in his his possession, if Samura went there, grabbed it, and killed Kunishige, everything kind of adds up. And the third thing is that Shiba definitely knows what went down in the Seiti War. He knows the secret that the Enchanted Blade users covered up, and I suspect that's why he retired from the Kamanabi. Yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts. Peak chapter, as always. Crippling depression is awesome. It's hype. Literally never misses. Keep reading Kagurabachi. It's amazing. Like the video right now. Do it. Subscribe. Goodbye.